Welcome everybody to both sides of the conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Tuesday. So you know what that means. This is our Hidden Gem show. Y'all know the Hidden Gem show is always one of the special shows of the week with all that is going on in the world, what is all going on in the community. It's great to have some positive, uplifting community organizations, businesses, and folk that are doing amazing, amazing things. And tonight we have a phenomenal organization that's here. We have some bad brothers that is coming in here. One of the brothers been here before, but this nonprofit, this organization is making headway, making news in the community for the amazing work that they're doing. Brothers Against Drug Deaths, very important stuff. Tonight is a great conversation that we need to have, as we know our communities has been impacted. When we talk about the fentanyl overdose, the drugs in our community, this organization is setting the tone to changing that and reimagining how we look at substance abuse and how we help support folks in our community. We know the times that we are in, folks are dealing with stress, they're dealing with anxiety, they're dealing with job loss, they're dealing with family struggles. There's a lot of things going on, and some folks are losing insurance and they're self-medicated, and some folks are stepping themselves in places that they shouldn't be and putting them in positions that we don't want to see in our community today. We want to uplift it. So the brothers that are bad are here today. I got to get an air horn up here. I got to get excited because it's been about a month since we've been on the air. And, every time, we come on, it's something special. When the lights hit us here at both sides of the conversation, as we continue to try to uplift our community, make sure that we get these resources and information. I don't know about y'all, but it's been a lot of great activity going on in our both sides of the conversation group, and folks are having some great conversation of what's going on, as so many things are taking place in the world. As I told you all last time, being away from a month, doing shows once a month, is so much information and news and things that are taking place. It's hard to get to all of it, but just want to say, hey, we'll touch a few things, but it's a lot going on. But today we want to start off and say, hey, San Francisco, it's summertime in San Francisco, okay? The weather is beautiful. All of my people in San Francisco enjoying the 87, 90-degree weather today. I know y'all enjoyed it. The beaches are full. My folks in Bayview, my folks in the Fillmore, my folks in Lakeview and the Tenderloin, South of Market, in the Mission, in the Richmond District. Everybody's outside enjoying the great weather. It's some great, great weather. I know folks across the country. Some folks are in hurricane mode. Some folks are in fall. Some folks are transitioning in the winter. But here in the Bay Area, we are having some of the most amazing electrifying weather out there. It is beautiful. You go inland, is in the hundreds, and here in the city at the water, it is cooking. Folks are eating ice cream. The kids are out, and it's a great time. And this is our time in the Bay Area. San Francisco, stay head up. Y'all know the great weather brings us out. The folks are out enjoying it. With that being said, great news for all of our football fans. Hey, how about the 49ers? They've been doing their thing, just making waves across the NFL. They said we wasn't going to be much this year. We had a lot of energy and folks out. But you know what? The San Francisco 49ers is 3-0 community. Hey, they doing their thing, uplifting the Bay, keeping things going. Shout out to the Golden State Valkyries. The young ladies gave they all this year, even though they didn't advance in the playoffs, but they brought some energy to San Francisco. Shout out to them amazing sisters for doing their thing. And I know it's track and field going on. There's some amazing track and field races happening across the country right now. Folks are out there doing it, and, we excited. And we just pumped up to be a part of it and see all what's going on. With that being said, I got a couple of news things that we need to take care of and deal with. I know yesterday a lot of folks, they woke up to some shaky. The earthquakes came back to the Bay to let us know we are still in the earthquake region. Yesterday, they said the earthquake was a 4.6 and they downgraded to 4.3. We also had a late aftershock around 6 o'clock, a 3.0. What we want to do here at both sides of the conversation is just take a second, okay? We got to slow down. We got to be mentally prepared and ready for earthquakes, as we are in this earthquake region, and just want to make sure that our community, our folks know to be prepared. And I know sometimes we used to these small earthquakes and it's like, hey, it's another little earthquake. We got to move on. But we know that the big one will be coming at some point. And I just want to make sure that all our community folks are thinking, right? We want to be intentional here at both sides of the conversation. That's what we always talk about, being intentional. We don't want to just be reactive. A lot of emergency preparedness services wasn't ready and didn't really respond like they needed to for yesterday's earthquake. So we just want to make sure that our community understand to make sure that you have a plan in place with your family, especially you all that have children. Make sure if you get disconnected or the cell services and Wi-Fi and things go down, that you have a meet and greet place for your teenage kids and for your younger kids so that you can recover them, or at least have a meeting spot if something or roads get closed off so that you can meet up with your loved ones. Make sure you check your gas, know how to shut off your gas, the main gas to your house and the water. A lot of time homeowners, folks don't know how to shut their gas and their waters off. If something happened, it might be hours before first responders or fire could get to your house. So please take a second, call out your local contractor or local city official to come check to see where your shutoff is. Just in case we do have a major earthquake, we want to be able to shut the water off in your house to prevent flooding, as well as the gas to prevent any fires and things of that nature. Also, make sure you have storage of water, and some things to get through a couple of days that we know when things happen, emergency response is tied up. It could be days or even weeks to folks get out there to support and help you. So make sure you got some canned goods. Make sure you have some things to be in survival mode. We must be in survival mode. Check out your flashlight. Make sure the batteries in your flashlight work. It happened to me. I had a power outage and I couldn't turn the flashlight on because the battery was dead, sitting in there for years. So you got to make sure you check your batteries. Make sure you got an AM, PM, FM radio with batteries. Make sure you have the basic necessities and some kind of charging station. I know everybody, we depend on our cell phones. So make sure you have some kind of solar backup charger that you could charge your phone and devices and things of that nature. And then if you do have relatives or folks you are taking care of who are terminally ill or not able to be mobile, make sure you have a backup for all their medications just in case we do lose power. You want to make sure you have some kind of way to have backup medicine and things of that nature for your family. But we'll be sharing out some information on all of our social media handles. Make sure you tune in, check us, sign up with our newsletter that goes out twice a month on the 1st and 15th. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media handles. We on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. You can't miss it. Just at both sides of the conversation. You'll see the big head bishop somewhere. I don't know. Just find a way, okay, to connect with us as we continue to pump out what's going on in our community on a daily, and we'll continue to do the things we knew. Also, there's a new urine test for prostate cancer that's going on. A team at the Johns Hopkins Hospital, they develop a liquid biopsy to detect cancer 91% of the time. They say it's better than the old PSA blood testing. Shout out to the amazing researchers and folks at the Johns Hopkins Hospital. You all know we've been putting out information all month. This is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month and other things this month, but that's one of the things we've been highlighting. So if that is you, fellas, it's an easy way to just go out there, urinate in a cup and find out. 90% chance to find out if you are detected with prostate. As we know in the Black community, Black males, high percentage in prostate cancer. Brothers, go urinate in the cup. Find out if you're one of the folks that's prostate. All right. Also, now this is not really news. This is frustrating news for the bishop. As you all know, here in California, beginning October 1st, all of the clean air vehicles, yes, the Teslas, the hybrids, all of us that's driving these electric vehicles, they are taking away our privilege. You can no longer be by yourself in the carpool lane beginning October 1st. You will be ticketed. I think there's a 1-month delay before they start actually issuing tickets, but the Highway Patrol will be pulling over people, letting them know they took away because of the federal funding and some of the other stuff that the federal government is doing is an impacting us. So again, folks in the Bay Area are starting to be even more frustrated as they are predicting more traffic because these HOV lanes are going to be closed. More folks are going to be stuck in traffic. You'll see more electric cars riding in the lane with the rest of the traffic. So folks are upset. Okay, the Bay Bridge is going to be packed. Highway 880, 80, 24, 680, 34, 35, 37. All the highways are going to be congested. Hey, community, calm down. Prepare. Okay, let's get prepared. We're trying to be intentional. I just told you a minute ago. We're trying to be intentional here at both sides of the conversation. Okay, make sure you give yourself extra time. Community, I know you want to get home. You've been at work all day. Give yourself some extra time. You're going to an event. You're going to see Chris Brown. You're going to see Usher. You're going to see somebody at one of the venues. Slow down. Maybe it's YoungBoy. I don't know, but slow down. Give yourself some time as they are predicting an increase and delays. There are also predicted more traffic on the highway. So sometimes when you hit your GPS and it says you're going to get there in 45 minutes, because of this new law in effect, it might be an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes. So allow time. Let's not be frustrated. We know road rage right now is at the highest level it's been here in California. So many freeway shootings. We need more people to calm down, allow a little bit more time in your travels, prepare a little bit, okay? Get dressed an hour earlier. You're going to be sitting in a little bit of traffic. It's frustrating for us all. I'm frustrated. I like to zoom in my HOV lane now, and I gotta ride with everybody else. All right. Well, that's California. Also, California put in a ban about accountability, preventing the federal government and ICE agents from wearing masks during operations and other things. Gavin Newsom signed into law. There's some stuff going on that we go highlight and talk about this ICE and what's going on. But again, just be more aware of some of these bills that are being passed. There's a number of bills across the country that's being slid across these state and Senate legislative folks. And just make sure that you're a part of the process. But again, I know a lot of folks think their vote don't count. But again, these policies, these bills are being passed, and it will affect our community. So again, community, stay in tune, stay engaged. It's okay. We got to be involved. We'll do our part here at both sides of the conversation. We got a special election coming up in November, and Prop 50 is going to be out there. There's a number of things. We're going to do our part here to make sure we get you the right information, what's going on, to help you all vote. We'll connect with our voter registered folks throughout the Bay Area to get them to come on and educate. Yes, we're looking for Educational Thursday presentation. It's been a while. Somebody called me and said, I need one of your educational presentations to all my educated folks out there. We need some educated folks to come on here and do a PowerPoint presentation for our Educational Thursday. It is so important that we continue to make sure that our community gets the information, the sauce, the game that sometimes our community don't get. And we're getting close. I'm talking to some folks that's ready to have some Sunday conversations. I know some folks been asking. I know football season been keeping us a little busy, not worried about it. But we're going to have some Sunday conversations coming up, some important conversations as we approach October. We'll be going heavy into our breast cancer awareness month. And we know it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well. So again, we're going to keep doing our part to push. Want to give a huge shout out to our hidden gem last week. Brother D, we got the black print. We blessing the people. We're trying to get our unified code together. I think we need it right now. There's a lot going on. And again, before we bring up these hidden gems, community, we got to stay engaged, involved. The number of gun violence in our community is increasing. The number of gun violence from police to African-American males and females is increasing. We got some issues that we got to talk about moving forward. And I want you all to be a part of this journey. We have to continue to find a way to resolve our issues without guns. This violence in America is at an all-time extreme high. And the number of suicide, we don't want to forget this month is Suicide Awareness Month as well as it is Substance Abuse Month. There's a lot of folks in deep, dark places, and I need my community to uplift the people in our community, your families. Check on your loved ones. People are hurting. People are in silence, okay, suffering. And we need to be there to uplift and support them. All right, enough of me. Enough of the news. I know y'all like, Bishop, we had enough of you. Get the hidden gems up here. Get these bad brothers up here. Okay, enough. Okay, we're going to get the bad brothers up here. I want to go ahead and introduce these two amazing brothers. First, we have Thayers Coates. He's the co-founder and CEO of Brothers Against Drug Deaths. It's a nonprofit dedicated to breaking the cycles of addiction and loss. These brothers got some powerful stories. Let me just tell you, when you hear them tonight, you're going to know what's going on with them. So with that being said, we're going to bring up our first hidden gem, Brother Thayers L. Coates Sr. Brother Coates, welcome to both sides of the conversation, brother.
Oh, welcome. Thank you, John. Let me say thank you, John, and both sides of the conversation. I am, and thank God. Let me just say that I'm an absolute believer that God is good all the time, right? And I just want to thank you for this platform. And at BAD, I mentioned earlier as we talked before the platform started, that I would not necessarily be here if it were not for a tragedy, right? But our main focus, and I'm glad you have us on here, and I will get into this more, but what we really want to say is that we believe that every life is valuable and that our work ensures that families and individuals don't face the struggles alone. That's what our real big tagline is that we don't want other families to face the same struggles that we've gone through on our own. Now I don't know if you want me to go in and talk a little bit about myself, but I'm a kind of a shy person, but I don't mind saying a few things. I've been around for a long time. I was born in 1954 at 81 Northridge Road in the Bayview District, San Francisco. And I grew up most of my life in Lakeview. And we still own our home on Plymouth Avenue. And, I've seen a lot of things. And as a kid, I was one of 17 children born to my parents, Curtis and Grady Coates, who migrated from Marshall, Texas, and their families were peanut farmers and just good people, right? And we came to San Francisco. They came to San Francisco before I was born, and I wanted to be an opera singer. So by all rights, I should be on this platform singing opera, right? But instead, I'm on this platform as a co-founder of BAD, Brothers Against Drug Deaths, because of the tragedies that we face in our lives, and the stress that we go to. And maybe these things are such that I'm in this position so I could help somebody else. But anyway, as we dive a little deep, I'll talk a little bit more about myself. I'm sure we want to kind of pass the baton and introduce our co-founder and one of the main reasons why we're even doing this, right?
Come on, man. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring this other phenomenal brother, the other co-founder of BAD. This brother right here, y'all, community, 30 years plus. I'm going to say 30 years plus. I'm giving him a plus, okay, of service in the community when it comes to reentry resources, advocate for substance abuse. He's an author. He got a book out. Y'all got to go check this out. Recovering from the Game. All right. This brother, Richard Beal, is a phenomenal brother. I know y'all seen him here on previous shows, and he's stepping into a new dimension. So without further ado, community, let's bring up the one and only Brother Richard Beal. Welcome back to Both Sides of the Conversation, brother.
Thank you, John Henry, man. It's always good to come on with you, man. You know what I'm saying? We've been doing this for a while, man, on the battlefield, man. You know what I'm saying? Advocating for people, man, struggling, man, in our community, man. And you've been doing this for a while, man. We back to back, shoulder to shoulder, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always grateful to come on both sides of the conversation. And I got my brother-in-law with me too. Yeah, so man, we excited, man. I'm enthused, man, and I'm just on a mission, man. I'm still on the same mission, man, to help those. And so my recovery voice, I try to speak loudly for those that suffer in silence. You know, all that, because some people don't have a voice. Some people, they stuck in that fentanyl fold, they stuck in their addiction, they stuck in their home and their mental state, and they struggling. But see, I gotta speak for those who can't speak for themselves. That's why I always say, when people come into recovery and they come to one of my programs, I say, man, we're going to love you till you learn how to love yourself. Because that's what they told me, because I didn't even like myself, yet alone love myself. You know what I'm saying? I was ripped. You heard the therapist talk about, his parents coming from Texas and all of that, and he had a 2-parent household and all of that. I had none of that. You know what I'm saying? My mother, man, my father went to the penitentiary for filing life for 19 counts of armed robbery. When I was a little boy, my mother left me and my brothers with my grandmother and my great aunt. I didn't see my father again until he got out of the penitentiary, man. He drove up in a Cadillac. He had 3 girls, 3 hoes with him. He was out there. That's all I knew. Then he introduced me and my brothers to the game, and that's all. I never had no job. I never had nothing until I came in recovery at almost 30 years old. All I knew was the streets. That was it. 12 years old, I was selling 50-cent joints, $5 matchboxes, 3-finger lids.
Come on,
you know
man.
what I'm saying? So, hey, I was one of the ones that you said people can only give you what they got. My father gave me what he had. All he knew was the streets. And so that's what I did, man. That's why I said I wrote the book, Recovering from the Game, man, that even though you was raised in the street and raised in the game, that people from the game recover too. And GAME stands for Good Advice Means Everything. That's what GAME stand for, because I thought they told me the game was to be sold and not told. But I'm telling you, John, if they would have told me what the game was, I never would have done it. Man, if they would have told me they was going to take me to places getting shot at, a lot of stuff, man, y'all can read the book, but a lot of stuff I couldn't put in the book. The book is rated R, but I got some rated X stuff that couldn't even go into the book. You know what I'm saying? Because it was hard out there in the streets, man, for years and years and years. And so I'm just saying, man, I'm grateful, man, to be on this mission with my brother-in-law. Man, I lost a lot of people to the disease of addiction over the years. And we just don't want families to continue to suffer, man, you know, because a lot of people are struggling with substance abuse and mental illness. You know, and yeah, man, you know, so you know what it is, man. I lost two brothers, and I was, so that's my brother-in-law. I was married to Theris's baby sister, was my first wife, Donna, and she died from her addiction, man. They found her, she died from she overdosed from and it was found in the Essex Hotel right there in the Tenderloin, man. You know what I'm saying? And so and we got married. That was back in 99, I believe we got married. I think we got divorced and struggling through her addiction, man. I stayed clean and she struggled, you know, and we stayed about 5 years, man, and it was a struggle, but I always loved the you know, we family, you know, the Coast is my family, always will be my family. And that's my brother-in-law. And when his son TC died in custody, man, you know, before he even passed away, man, you know, Theris would let me know that TC was out there, you know, in the Tenderloin, you know, and I remember him as a little boy, and I said, Theris, send me a picture of what he looked like now. And so he sent me that picture, man, and, you know, it was just like, man, you know, we did everything we could to try to, you know, get him into treatment, man. But the same thing happened to TC is that, you know, those doors, man, are going to treatment, all those barriers and all those things, man, it's just too much, man. You know, when I got into treatment, I knocked on the door, and I just want to say this, and I'm going to be quiet. When I came into treatment, I've been clean 30 years. I knocked on the door at the Eisenhower Center right there at 1175 Howard. It's right there in San Francisco, and they let me right in, and that was July 18, 1995, and I've been clean ever since. Thank God that I didn't have to go through all the stuff that they make you go through now. You know, so I just saying, man, we need to remove all those barriers to treatment and do treatment on demand.
Man, I feel you, and I know you out there moving around, brother. You got to turn your light on in there. I know you're moving around busy, but brother Theris, you know, you both co-founding this. And I know it comes from a special a place dealing with the loss, but let's talk to the community because not only your son, so many other folks are impacted. There's change, you know, you're doing things policy-wise to make change. Talk to the community, let them know a little bit how you came upon co-founding BAD, your loss, and kind of tie it in to what we're seeing today and how important it is for folks to not only tap into what BAD's doing, but understand the impact that fentanyl is having on our community, substance abuse as a whole in our community, how it's impacting folks.
Well, let me say this, right? I'm going to start with this. I love my son. I've loved my son since the moment I saw him born. When I saw him come out and he was so full of life, and he's just this very vibrant, smart, intelligent, fast-moving person. He wanted to be a gospel rapper, all right? And when he first told me that, you know, because I have a music business, an entertainment business called STLR Entertainment. And so this was right up my alley. I was like, okay, you know, I could really do this business, and he could, you know, if he's really, really, really serious about it. At first I thought he was just, you know, kind of, you know, just doing stuff, right? Like sometimes kids try to find their way. But let me just share this little quick story. We bought him these journals, and he would write in the journals. He's just writing in these journals all the time. And so his sister, who was 10 years older than him, she came over and she got a hold of one of those journals. And she was reading, and then he saw her, and he was like, give me my journal back, please, give me my. And Dad, make her give me my journal. And then she says, Dad, How is he going to write about being a gangster in the ghetto when he grew up in a middle-class home in suburban Sacramento? And it was the funniest thing I've heard, right? But he was so serious about what he's doing. And here's a little tidbit that I'm going to share later on. But he did become that gospel rapper, and he did go into the studio, and he did record 10 songs, and they have never been released. But one of the missions that we're going to accomplish at BAD is we're going to release that CD, and we're going to put them on my record label, Out of Lakeview Records. So just look for it. But anyway, the reason why we're here, right? My son died in a jail. No, let me back up. He died in a medical jail cell. He was being watched. He was being monitored in a medical jail cell in the San Francisco County. I don't know all the circumstances, but the end result was accidental fentanyl overdose. Devastated me. We spent many, many days and months and the years out there trying to get some help for my son. And so BAD is coming out of this, and the journey that we've taken is that all of the things that I went through, that Richard went through, that all the people, all the crisis teams and all those people that were trying to help us went through, I've chronicled those things. I have written those things down. And the things that the barriers that kept us from getting help for him were the very barriers that I actually worked on. I worked for the Department of Health Services for 20 years. And I was one of the young analysts who helped develop some of the language of the HIPAA law. And that very law came back and bit me because it said, you can't help your son unless he says so. And we knew that he couldn't make sound decisions. We had professionals, medical professionals who said he's not making sound decisions. He was bipolar and he was addicted to drugs. So BAD is born. And some of the things that at BAD, we want to together ensure that no one else dies waiting in a jail cell, waiting for help. Every life impacted by addiction or mental health has hope for recovery. That's the real message. So some of the things that we're going to be doing, we're going to do through education, through providing resources and advocacy to prevent drug-related deaths. We're going to be promoting mental health awareness and culturally competent care. All right. These types of things are absolutely necessary, but more importantly, this is my side. I'm gonna let Richard talk about the rest of it because I'm really sold on this. I want to capture the young men before this tragedy starts, right? And I want to start the group called Voices Unmuted for young men 18 to 36, and we'll get them before they start this, right? And a second group for the caregivers, for the people who are going to need the information to go help, right? And we're going to compile the information that we've learned and teach people how to get around and go provide services and help for their loved one. So those are the two things that I am going to put a lot of work in. And then the last thing I'm going to say before I yield to Richard is that we came up, and let me just say that Richard came up with this idea and it took hold. Tharris Law, right? You've heard of Megan's Law, Kevin's Law, all these laws, right? Well, Tharris Law would allow for an emergency conservatorship. So someone like me or other parents that are out there, they got their loved ones out there, they can pursue this emergency conservatorship and get their loved one in treatment. Richard, I'm going to yield to you.
I just want to say one thing, and I want folks out there to hear this, and I think it's so powerful, the story of your son and this journey that you've been through. And I think there's so many families out there who are silent And I just want to commend you for having the courage to be vulnerable, to come out here and really speak about it. When we talk about mental health, and we talk about substance abuse in our community, so many times, like Richard said, the voices are muted, right? Sometimes families, they feel embarrassed. They don't want to talk about their kids who are suffering from mental health or substance abuse. And I think it's a beautiful thing to have you all to come on tonight and talk about this, because it opens up the door. Because I know here in this Bay Area, especially in San Francisco, there's some family member or some mother or some father out there dealing with substance abuse with their children. And, you know, when we talk about, you talked about your son and wanting to do music, and we look at those industry, how close substance abuse and music is aligned together. And we talk about the arts, and we talk about some of the things that folks deal with that's connected with mental health and substance abuse is so important. So I just think you highlighting this and being able to verbalize this to the community is so important, because there's somebody out there we know tonight that is dealing with it. And so many times in this Black community that we represent, folks become mute in these instances. You know, we talk about incarceration, our children being incarcerated and dealing with these struggles. You know, how to get the support and help is so important and impactful. And just want to say thank you for what you Bad Brothers is doing to bring this to the community and helping our young people and uplift this, because we need more folks to talk about it so that we can really figure out some ways and some solutions to help folks out and just have resources. And I heard you talk about resources and policies that can help steer our communities in the right way and give folks another avenue to exit from such a detrimental choice at times when you talk about substance abuse and mental health.
Let me say one thing. I want to say, and then I'm going to leave it alone. You made me think, and I love these precious memories. My dad was a minister of the gospel, and he was an educator, right? And he loved history, and he would say things to us to make sure that we understood who we were and where we were going and who we're dealing with. And he would walk up to me. I could still see him. I close my eyes and can see him on a Saturday morning before he goes to play golf or fly one of his radio controlled planes. And he'd say, "There's information is the key to success," right? And then he would just walk out, right? And I started to think, what does that mean? You know, what does that mean? And as I grew older and I began to understand that if you don't know something, you can't possibly act on it. So at BAD, we're going to make sure that you know something. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, brother-in-law. You know, I just want to say when TC passed away, first thing I did was I reached out to, you know, the people that was trying to get him into treatment. Matter of fact, the day that he passed away, he was being picked up by Cedric Akbar and some people to take him to treatment. But when they got to the jail, it was locked down because TC had died. They didn't know why it was locked down, but they was there actually to pick him up and take him into the program. You know, and it was just like, wow, you know. And then we reached out to Matt Dorsey, and I talked to him about, you know, that we need to do something about it, you know, as far as getting people in the services and dealing with especially the disparity when it comes to, you know, Blacks and overdoses. You know, it's just like 4,000 people have died from overdose over the last 5 years, more than any other 5-year period. And it's disproportional among especially Black men. You know, and we need to do something about it. And when I heard that TC died in custody from an overdose, I said, man, that is unacceptable. And then I talked to Terrence. I said, man, well, that's what you want to do, brother-in-law. And so I said, you know, we can start an organization, man. We can do a lot of stuff, man. And so I came up with the BAD name, and Terrence loved it. And we presented it to Matt Dorsey. We submitted the paperwork, and it was April of 2025. We a full 501c3 nonprofit, you know, and you know, and then we, you know, I said, well, man, let's do, you know, because we was trying to get, you know, conservatorship. You know, he was 5150. He was in the hospital. Theris had doctors working with him, people trying to get him in the treatment, contact, treatment providers. All that thing was working at first. And it only took one person, one doctor to come in there and turn the whole thing around. They ended up, because he was able to answer some questions, they lifted the 5150. They stopped the conservatorship, put him in a taxi down to 6th Street. He was supposed to go to one of the programs down there. Instead, they dropped him off right there on 6th Street. He ended up using and then going to jail. And that's just like, wow. Just like that, the whole thing changed. It was a whole program. He was on that pathway to recovery, and one person came in there and it changed the whole script. And those type of things, man. It's just like we need treatment on demand. We don't need another family to go through that suffering like that and end with that tragic result. Because I still know that the disease of addiction, when it comes to it, if you don't do something, it's jails, institutions, and death. And most people die from the disease of addiction. And that's been my experience over 30 years of working in the field. And I'm gonna tell you, man, like I said, I didn't know nothing else. I'm glad that I was able to reach out to my brother-in-law. I'm glad that we were able to start bad, but I'm just at a loss of TC, that young boy that I knew. And then I used to hear about some of the things that he was doing, and then the way that he died is just a terrible circumstances, and in custody. It's just like, I wanted to do something about it. So I'm on a mission to continue this legacy. I'm on a mission to do what we can so another family won't have to go through some of the things that, we went through. And it's somebody that we need to have treatment on demand. We need to have a faster way to do conservatorship. So when a person is suffering from mental illness and substance abuse, that they can, that a family can step in and make some good decisions without violating the HIPAA law. We understand the HIPAA law. We understand. I'm a certified counselor. I'm a certified clinician. I've been working in the field. Has worked for the Department of Health Services in the state for years. We understand HIPAA and the privacy, the health information privacy. And we understand all of that. But what about when a person is not able to make decisions because of their severe mental illness and substance abuse issues? A family needs to be able to step in. And it shouldn't take one person just to come in and stop everything and change the whole process when a plan was in place. They had a good chance of being successful. Man. So it still just breaks my heart, John, that happened, that just one doctor came in there and made it, to me, an incompetent decision to circumvent everything that was already done when a man was on a pathway to recovery.
Wow. Well, Richard, I want to dive a little bit in there. When we talk about what support looks like, and I know you talked about public health, DPH, they play a big role in recovery in San Francisco. They play a big role with the mental health services. Since the new mayor has been in office, there's a number of changes that's taken place. How do you feel with the support coming from DPH, the investment in substance abuse? How do you feel the funding and the support in the community to make these changes for getting people on the road to recovery? How do you think the investment for it is happening? Do you think it's in a positive direction, or you think there's a lot more work that needs to be done?
Well, I think it's definitely a lot of work to be done because of the disproportion when it comes to, especially among African American, is that, we only make up 4.6% of the San Francisco population, yet we make it's 5-1 when it comes to the overdose deaths. And also 41% of the people that's incarcerated right now are African Americans. So we only 4.6%, but we make up 40% of those incarcerated right now in the city and county in San Francisco. 40%. And so all of those disparities, I was at a meeting today with DPH and Director Sy, and all of them was speaking, and they went over 10 categories. They talked about diabetes, they talked about heart disease, and all these different mortality rates. And since 2017, when 2017, drug use was number 8. In 2019 to 2000, where we at right now, drug use deaths when it comes to mortality is number 2. So it went from number 8 to number 2 among African Americans.
Wow.
And so all of that stuff is disproportional, man. You know, and it's because of systemic racism. It's because of, and I'm gonna tell you, and I worked in jail, and I know the services that are provided and stuff in jail. And I'm gonna say most of the time, if a Caucasian say they going through pain and stuff like that, or somebody other race or whatever, and I'm not race or anything like that, but I am pro-black because I'm black. And I just say that, a lot of times they, somebody has said they got pain that's not another ethnicity, and they get to prescribe the medication, oh, we don't want you to be in pain and this and that. But somebody who's African American, they say they in pain, oh, you drug seeking. Oh, you drug seeking, oh, you got a substance abuse problem. So it's just that systemic racism is real and it's deep. And another thing is that when it comes to being even placed in treatment, I know Prop 36 and all that passed, and I just don't want our black people sitting in jail while all the other ethnicities getting a bed. I seen that too. I worked in jail. I ran the Roads to Recovery program. I did all of that type of stuff. And all of that systemic racism that I just talked about is real.
Oh, definitely. I mean, so many times folks want to turn the blind eye to what's really going on. I'm glad you highlight that, because even in the medical field, when we talk about sickle cell, we talk about some of the cancers and stuff that folks are dealing with, we hear this all the time and time, when African-American patients go into these facilities, these hospital institutions, seeking for pain. They typically turn them in and say, hey, they addicts and they trying to get high. And, that's a real conversation that we need to have as more and more of the institutions of the health are asking, what are some of the disparities? What are some of the issues that African-American and Latinos are faced when coming to get healthcare services, and why they turn away from healthcare services? This is like one of the number one conversations that really needs to be had when we talk about patient care and how do we advocate. Now, I think I said this many, many times on here. We need more doulas, not just for midwife doulas. We need doulas to advocate for folks in the medical seeking treatment and getting help. I've had a different medical professionals come on here, and I've been asking for years, when do we come up with the maintenance guide? We need a guide for Black folks that they could take to their healthcare providers for things to be checked. So many times our folks are going into medical treatment and they're not getting checked and diagnosed for the right thing, especially when we talk about mental health and how it impacts us with drug use and things of that nature. So I'm glad you highlight that and bringing that to the forefront of the conversation, because it's so important to bridge this gap. If we're going to close this gap when we talk about substance abuse and health, the statistic that you just gave out is alarming. If you go from 8th to 2nd issue that's impacting Black folks with substance abuse, and I know earlier we talked about the number of folks who are being impacted daily who don't pass away from substance abuse, that are getting connected into the emergency rooms and taken to our hospital facilities and being released, or in the Cal OSHA world, they call them near deaths, right? It's a safety hazard. It's a near death, a near miss. It's very important as well, and I think that's something that's highlighted. And I'm glad you speak on that. And we have to be real, and that's the biggest thing that we try to bring here at both sides of the conversation. We don't want to play the race game and all that, but we need to have the real conversation because sometimes folks are so tone deaf to what the reality is and the impact. And you hear folks say, well, they got access, they got services, and we know that they're not getting access and the service the same as other. We got to fix that. We got to treat human beings as human beings. And I think that's phenomenal that you brought that up. And that's something that we got to highlight, and we got to keep pushing. And I know you bad brothers with the bad organization is going to definitely keep pushing and advocating for that. Brother Thiz, I see you up there, Brother Coates. I know you want to say something. Come on, jump in here, brother.
Oh, yes. I absolutely. I mean, I'm biting at the chomp because all of these things, I'm so blessed. I'll be 71 next month, Lord willing, right? And I remember talking to my sister the other day, and she said, that the Bible says that we only have 70 years. It translates into 70. And it by reason, of health or blessing of God, we ascertain to be a more mature age, right? We should be doing something, right, with that knowledge and that ability. I'm going to read this. I want to read this again. We believe every life is valuable, and our work ensures that families and individuals don't face these struggles alone, right? we are not meant to be here alone, right? I just posted something on our Facebook page the other day. I was listening to our mayor, our esteemed Daniel Lurie, and he was talking about we need all of these organizations to work together. And that's an old African proverb, right? It takes a village to raise a child, right? So at BAD, you know, all of these things we see, we don't care whether you don't like us, right? We don't care whether you think you're racist or whatever, right? I can go back to when I started working for the Department of Health Services back in 1985, right? And I stepped into a job market where, you know, I was like one of the minorities, right? And so naturally I gravitated to my own people, right? And I noticed that every time we got together, we were just whispering. And I didn't grow up like that, right? In my household, my father would say, if you want something, ask for it, right? And only two things can happen. Either you get it or you don't get it, right? So that's how I've been living my life. And so I'm stepping out here now with the knowledge that I have. I worked as a research analyst for the Department of Health Services, Medi-Cal in the fraud division. Check this out. And I was relied upon to go research and find out why people did what they did, right? And I got good at it, right? I was very good at it. I became an expert witness. I traveled all over the country, testifying in court and all this stuff, right? So I knew some stuff, right? And I knew that when we were working on the HIPAA language, right? No one ever asked the question, what if the person really needs some help, right? I mean, it seemed all these educated people were put together, but I'm here to say, I'm piggybacking on Richard and the disparity of Black, you know, treatment that we get. Let me say, back up. I went back to school. I was diagnosed in 2004 with lung cancer, stage 4. I thought I was going to die. Everybody I knew in the Black community, everybody I ever knew who had cancer died. So when I was diagnosed and I was told it was stage 4, I started preparing to die. And my older sister came in and she said, you're not supposed to be preparing to die. You're supposed to be preparing to live. And yes, that's what I did. I'm here today. It's 2025, thank God. But I went back to school, right? And one of the lessons that happened, I was studying business. And then I had to go through some English courses. And they asked me to write a paper, a type of thesis. And I came up, because I had recently went through lung cancer, the title was The Disparity of Lung Cancer Treatment in the African American Community. And I was able to write it because I experienced it. And so now let's fast forward to 2025, right? And yes, this is very real, but our mission is to move forward, and make some stuff happen. We want to support families that are already navigating addiction and mental illness. All right, there's families out there, because people have been calling us saying, my son is out there, my grandson is out there, right? We want to challenge systemic failures that block access to help. That's my baby. I'm going to be out there fighting for that, right? Because all of the young people I see out there, they deserve an opportunity to say one day, I'm 70 and I'll be 71 next month, right? So it's so many things that we want to do. I don't know how much our time is limited or not. I'm excited about something else. And can I segue into something that's really exciting right now?
Man, it's your flow, brother. We bring this positivity. Come on, brother.
Check this out. After my son died, we were finding ways to just process grieving, ways to process how do we do something about this. And an idea was presented. Let's write a play. So I have this large extended family. I have 38 nephews and nieces. I don't know, about 50 something great nephews and nieces. Anyway, two of these nieces are playwrights, and they've written over 20 plays, and they're very successful. And they said, we could write a play. And they did. They wrote a play called Beyond My Family's Reach. And we're going to put this play is going to premiere this November 22nd at the Wolf Williams Bayview Opera House, right there where where we started, in the Bayview, November 22nd. And this is a story that is about, it mirrors what happened to my son. Of course, names are redacted, right? But it's going to have some main characters in there that are going to be navigating mental health challenges and addiction. And we're going to have some solutions. We're going to actually have social workers on right there on the premises to help people process this, because what we're going to be presenting is what really happens and some of the solutions on what you can do to help your loved one before the obituary. Okay.
Wow.
So some of the things, yes.
That's very powerful. I mean, and I agree with Richard. You know, I've been advocating, and I'll keep saying it. You know, when it comes to mental health, substance abuse, we need mobile health. So I agree with you all talking about the mobility, but we need mobile health. We need folks to actually bring these mobile vehicles to our community, because a lot of times these folks are saying, you got to meet people where they at. Well, our people is in the community. We got to get mobile health, mobile mental health, mobile substance abuse services right here in our community. And I know we're doing a great job, phenomenal job of passing out the Narcan. I see a lot of organizations getting the Narcan out. And I said, hey, where is the substance abuse counselor? Where is the services? We need not just the Narcan out there to prevent folks from overdosing. We need the services to prevent the folks from engaging. We got to have the resources and supports to navigate folks into the road of recovery. And I think that's the biggest push that we need to be pushing on top of all of the agendas that are happening when it comes to substance abuse. But again, with you all here at BAD, getting policy, getting things happening, we need you all to continue to march and push the fight of substance abuse and mental health to the forefront. Brother Richard Beal, I know you got a plan, brother, and I know you ain't going to quit. We got to figure it out. We got to get mobile units in our community to bring peace, healing, and some of the things that we need to move our community forward, brother.
And so, you know, we need external and internal, man. A lot of people don't realize, you know, that most of the overdose deaths happen in permanent supportive housing. And the problem with permanent supportive housing is that the support, they don't have to participate in the support. And because of the Housing First laws, was we working to get amended, a person can be in a unit and we can be knocking on their door to try to get them engaged in support services, and they can just turn them away. They don't even have to engage. And so only 25% of the people in permanent support housing actually participate in support services. It needs to be mandatory. And so they working to amend Housing First to make it mandatory that if you have mental health issues and substance abuse issues, that you cannot refuse services. And most of the people in permanent supportive housing are only paying 30% of their, rent. They only paying 30%. We paying the other 70%. And so we paying for 70% of your housing, and we identify that you have mental health and substance abuse issues. You need to have to engage in those, with those therapists and those counselors and case managers. And because we love you too much just to watch you die. And too many people have been dying in permanent supportive housing. So yeah, we need people to get the ones that's out there on the street, sleeping in tents and on the sidewalk. We definitely need to address them, and we need to address the people that's inside these PSH supportive housing units, and they dying behind closed doors. So wow. both need to be addressed, John. Both need to be addressed, and it's harder to do the ones behind the closed doors because they have all those tenant rights, and it's a harder challenge. And so we working with the state and the feds to change some of the Housing First laws. No, we did get past. Matt Haney helped write a bill called AB 255, which now we can do drug-free housing because people were they were going to jail, they go to the court, and they get sentenced to go to treatment. But for one, we ain't got enough treatment beds. And then when they say they do go to detox, they do go to treatment. And then even after treatment, they go to transitional housing, all that drug free. And then we got to send them to another place or building or some place because they can't afford to get any type of other affordable housing. They go end up in a hotel in the SRO in the Tenderloin, the South of Market. Every time they walk out the door, they next door neighbors blowing fentanyl smoke in their face. And so it's, what I'm saying, we need to have a drug-free option for those who want a drug-free environment. And so now they passed it where we can now have drug-free permanent supportive housing, not only drug-free transitional, drug-free interim, but drug-free permanent supportive housing. And so it just passed the Senate Appropriations Committee. It passed, and so only thing I think they're waiting for is for Governor Gavin Newsom to sign it, and then 10% of the next housing that's going to be built in San Francisco is going to be drug-free housing. And so that was a big accomplishment. We've been trying to do that for the last 3 years, working with people like Tom Wolf and Steve Adami and Matt Dorsey. And, we started the Recovery First movement. We even did the Recovery to Read, where people that's in treatment and in recovery, they can go to the main library and get recovery books for free. Don't have to bring it back. Don't have to have no library card. It's a whole section, a recovery to read section, where you can go to the San Francisco Library and you can get a AA, NACA workbooks, all of that stuff, all the whole recovery section, and get those books for free. That's big. And then we had Recovery Day. We had the 5th annual Recovery Day. We started Recovery Day 2021. At Recovery Day on the 12th of this month, we gave out 150 recovery books. We had over 20 organizations. BAD was there. People was, signing up for programs and getting information about treatment and all of those resources that we was connecting people to about reentry and how to get employment if you got a criminal record. Let them know about the Fair Chance Ordinance, that if you get denied employment or you get denied housing because of your criminal background, that you can appeal it through the Fair Chance Ordinance. You got 14 days to appeal it. And we have been able to reverse some of those denials because of people's criminal background. And so all of those some things that I've been doing, John, for years, man. Just working with the reentry population, working with people who suffer from mental health and substance abuse issues. Because they told me, man, it wasn't nobody doing that when I got clean. So they told me, if you don't see the change, be the change. If you don't see the role model, be the role model. And stop complaining, get in there. Somebody got to stand in the gap. And I'm just standing in the gap, man. That's what I'm doing, man. I'm committed to this. You know what I'm saying? We partnered up with different organizations like United Players, Rudy. We partnered up with different organizations that doing some of those things. Same thing. We got Metropolitan Fresh Start, who they got a VA contract. They connected to us as well. Theirs used to be on the board for Metropolitan, and Kenwood DeVore was one of my mentors as well. And so it's just a number of people that we've been working with over the years. And now, it's all coming to fruition because everything is based on relationship. And we got some bad people that's joining bad, and we about to do some good things with a bad organization.
Come on, man. Come on. Let's go, man. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. You got me fired up. Hey, Richard, that's what it's all about, and again, congratulations to BAD. We need some bad brothers. We need some brothers that's going to step in the difficult trenches of our city streets and to go to war and go to and fight for what's right. BAD is doing that, man. We just honored, man, and it's great to have you all doing this. This is something that's going to stand, for a long time, and we need it. To hear the numbers and to see what's happening in our community, this substance abuse is real, and the youth is getting younger, and I'm just seeing what's taking place, and to see BAD taking a reach out to the young folks is so important. I was going to ask Brother Coates about that. So many times we talk about here on both sides of the conversation, how do we get our elders to bridge the gap with the young people? And I see you trying to make that effort, and that's just all that we could do, because the young people, this Gen Z and these younger generation of young people, their mentalities, the way they think about things is totally different. And I just wanted to see you all perspective of how we connect the elders, and how do we get the elders to pass the torch, and how do we get the elders to wrap around the young people and uplift them and support them, because I think that's so important. And I just wanted to ask you, Brother Coates and Richard, before we wrap up, I want to hear, how do we get, because you guys got a lot of knowledge, a lot of years of service, a lot of expertise, and how do we get these young people connected, involved, and how do we bring on the next generation of the young bad brothers in the community?
Hey, I'm glad you asked that. I am so glad you asked that. Recently, I'm indebted to the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? So, and I know I don't say that I haven't made my mistakes. I've made many mistakes, and I myself am removed 43 years from that life, right? And so I met with a young man. I talked to him on the phone, and it was the subject was about young people, and it's something my dad had always said. Young people. He used to say it so much it scared me, right? But I got on the phone with this young man, and this, by the way, this young man, I won't mention his name, but he's a minister, he's a preacher himself, and he's going to be in this play, right? So you got to come see this young man. And I apologized to him. I said, I need to apologize to you. And he was like, why? Why are you apologizing to me? I said, because my generation failed you. My generation failed you. Now, the generation that came before me, they were pioneers. And I saw them. I saw giants. I saw people. I met the lawyer for Martin Luther King, right? And they talked to me, and they was telling me about these speeches that they wrote and all these things, right? And none of that stuff, I didn't transfer it to anybody. And so, and we had this conversation just the other night about the reason that the young people, that they've lost because we lost them at the beginning. And it goes back to, that's why I want to do these support groups, because we got to get them before we lose them, right? Just think about that. Get them before we lose them. So we need to, just like my son, right? I was following him because he was my son. He was my baby boy, right? And he became, as I saw him, we got services for him. We've got treatment for him prior to him being 18. We got the school district to agree to pay for a private school for him. He went into this private school where he was getting one-on-one counseling. Do you know that he went from failing to an A student and got a scholarship to go to Wiley College in Marshall, Texas, right? So it's just another proof that we, as right now, Richard, you, John, we're the generation that needs to reach out. Stop what we're doing. If we're invested in this thing for ourselves, we're not going to be here forever, right? And we need to reach out to the young people. And hopefully with this play, we're going to do that. We're going to reach out to the people that are really needing to be affected by what we're trying to learn and trying to teach them, right? In fact, we're going to try our very best to make sure that no one is left out, that we get everybody to be in this play for free, right? It's got to be done. We're going to try to do, we're going to do 2 shows. We're going to do the matinee show and a 7 p.m. show. So we want you to bring your young people out here to hear from us what really happens in the trenches, not something they read about, because the news, you can't trust them. I don't even listen to that, right? I'm going on who we are, relationships that we build. And we've built some relationships. Richard has been out there day and night. And I've seen it. I watched him. And now I'm working with them, and I'm just honored that the avenues are there to be open. And all of the people we're going to talk to all of the people where we can create relationships like DPH and the mayor and everybody, supervisors, everybody. And the main message is that you got a whole generation and of people, and they're not concerned about being a billionaire. They are concerned about survival, right? So we're going to pass the torch in our area and spread this. We're going to make it effective. And you know how they say in an infectious disease, yeah, like COVID, right? Or one of those diseases, bad. That's what bad is going to be doing. Absolutely. And
Yeah,
you got to come out. Wait a minute. You got to come out and support. You got to work with us. I mean, it takes, look at it. It's Richard and I, and it's just been since April. And we're here telling you that it really works. This stuff really works if you just do the job, if you just go out there and do the job. And we're showing up. I'm going to show up. I'm going to keep showing up. I can barely, sometimes I can't get around. I got a scooter, and I'll get on that scooter and I'm driving down 6th Street hollering, safe streets, right? Because I really mean that. I really mean that these young people, they got people living on 6th Street, you know, and these are kids, and they can't go from school to their place without walking through sidewalks full of people using drugs, drug paraphernalia, all that stuff has to stop. And so we're going to do our part. Bad is going to do our part.
You know, I'm working in Tenderloin. Been working in Tenderloin for the I don't know how many last years. My office been located right there at the Drake Hotel, right across the street from Bodecker Park, for over the last 10 years. The Tenderloin has more kids than any other area of San Francisco. You know, and I see every day, just like Darius was talking about, you know, I seen this one child, she had to be like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years old. And she had to walk past about 5 people that were using, walking with her mama trying to get to school. And I see this every day, you know, and so we have to do something about, you know, that's why I support drug-free sidewalks. I support, helping people get into treatment and even into shelter, just get them off the street, you know, and also I support a lot of the work that, you know, our community partners are doing, such as United Players, you know, and people that are working with the TAY population, transitional age youth. You know, and so I support my friend, you know, Raymond Ross working with the San Francisco Brown Bombers. I support United Players working. You know, we heard that the guy that we went to a rally, and one of our friends, Ziggy Brown, he spoke. Ziggy's 16 years old. You know, and he was speaking for drug-free sidewalks. He's affiliated with United Players. And then I got these other friends that work with Code Tenderloin, and they got the youth program. They had some interns come from the HBCUs. You know, that's another thing about the HBCUs. A lot of times is that those HBCUs, a lot of times they stay down south, but we need some of them out here because we don't have enough people of color. We don't have enough Black people, especially that are in the medical field. You know, we don't have enough therapists that look like us. We don't have enough doctors that look like us. We don't have enough nurse practitioners that look like us. You know, because a lot of times if you knock on my door and you don't look like me or sound like me or can't understand my culture, I'm not going to listen to you. You know, and we don't have enough people of color working in the medical field. It's really hard to find a Black therapist or a Black doctor or somebody that's working in the Tenderloin with this margin to populate with us here in San Francisco. It's a rarity. Most of the time you get people from Stanford, and UCSF, I ain't saying nothing against them, but I'm just saying we need more people of color, Black people, to work with Black people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just trying to say, John, that the disparity is there. And systemic racism, all of that stuff is real. And I'm not racist or anything like that, but I am pro-Black for Black people. you know, and black when we need help because I'm tired of seeing, you know, the mortality rate of us having the highest one in multiple categories. I was in a meeting with DPH, and I'm talking about diabetes. They talked about hypertension. They talked about heart disease. They talked about drug use. They talked about mental health. They talked about, and we were at the top of each category. Each one. I couldn't believe it. So, I mean, we'd only make up a certain position. We was at the top of like 9 of the 10 different categories that were discussed. So something is wrong. Something is wrong with that picture, man. It's just unacceptable. So we know what the problem is. What is the solution? You know, so I wrote the book, man. The Recovery from the Game, man. You know what I'm saying? I wrote the book so that people that we can be doctors, we can be lawyers, we can, you know, I got more letters behind my name. Never did nothing, man, until I came to recovery, man. Went back to school. I'm a certified, even a licensed insurance agent as well, man. I got a license. I got all of that. I'm an author. You know what I'm saying? Show me what it can't be done. I'm challenging it. I'm saying, oh, yeah, it can. Oh, yes. I'm stepping up to the plate. Oh, man, you got a lot on your plate, man. I need a platter. I got a platter, John.
Yeah.
I'm breaking down doors and breaking down barriers, baby. And you know what I'm saying? I put it in my song. I say, you know, while walking through the valley of the shadow of death, I'm slaying haters left and right till there's none left. And any hater that run up, get done up. I'm going to beat them down to the sun up.
Come on, man. Come on, Richard Field dropping bombs out here. We blowing up the spot here on both sides of the conversation.
I'm not playing, man. Hey, this is serious, man. We saving lives, you know, and I got my brother by my side, and we got a whole lot of people that we working with, man, that are serious about saving lives, man.
Man.
Yeah.
Community.
Yeah.
There you have it, community. There you go. 30 years of service. Look at that energy. If you can have that energy, community, if we can take that energy for all the things we do, look how much change we would have. Come on, let's go. It's a party in here. Hey,
man, come on, man.
Before you get, I don't want to get you too excited because I know we have to back.
It's a battle, man.
You're not gonna be able to rest tonight, brother. But
and then I'm telling you, man, we're not fighting against each other. They want to try to think that we're fighting against each other, but we battling against the disease of addiction. That's why they call me the ambassador for recovery, man, because it's about working toward the solution. You know what I'm saying? Come on now, let's work towards the solution. Because Norcan, to me, I'm gonna tell you, methadone and all that buprenorphine, it's a tool, but to me, it's not the solution. I was on methadone. For me, methadone was not the answer, but it did provide the question. What you willing to do to get clean and stay clean? What you willing to do for your recovery? It wasn't the answer, but it did provide the question, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Is you real? You know what I'm saying? Recovery is the act of changing ideas, attitudes, and behavior. Come on. Recovery is a hero's journey. It takes courage to make it.
That's right.
Courage.
That's right.
You know, courage is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, you know, you got to have some faith. And faith for me stands for finding answers in the hurt.
Yes.
You hear me? Finding answers in the hurt. Hope stands for hold on, pain ends. Don't give up. Don't give in.
Come on, Richard Bill, blowing up the spot here on both sides of the conversation. Let's go. Man. We need some people with some courage, some heart. Stand up. Let's go. We got to step and stand here on both sides.
If you can't step up, step back and let somebody step up that's willing to take. Because sometimes everybody ain't gonna be. Every story don't have a happy ending. Sometimes you gotta walk through some crap to get where you need to get. You know, everybody ain't gonna be on your team, but you gotta be dedicated to the mission.
That's right. Man, see, this is how you want to end the show. Brothers, come on, y'all, give it up for these amazing. The Band Brothers is here. The Band Brothers is here. That's all I know. We got some Band Brothers. Hey, listen, man, it's getting late. We know we could go all night with this. We know. But this road to recovery, this substance abuse, when we talk about the help, this is what BAD is doing, community, bringing that energy, that passion. We all can do it. We got to stand up through these difficult times. We are in difficult times, but we will shine. We will make it through. We will push through. We have resilience. You have the support. You have BAD. There's no excuse, community. Let's find a way to dig deep. Brother Bill, before we go, you know, before I let all my people go, I got to give you an opportunity to give some shots out to the people, leave some parting words, because after all of that energy, when folks come down and they think about the conversation, when they think about what's going on in their community, when they see the folks on the street, they stepping over, when they see the folks leaned over on fentanyl and can't move, give them something to think about, the hope, the information. Brother Bill, before you go, give them something to give a shout out to all of the amazing folks that help you, because I don't want them to say, oh, you came on both sides of the conversation and you forgot about me. I was right there with you, brother. Come on, talk to the people.
Oh man, big shout out to Dale Seymour, man. Big shout out to Cedric and all of them, man. Positive Direction, Men in Motion, all my brothers on the struggle, you know what I'm saying? Recovery First. Big shout out to even those politicians that have been working with us, man. Matt Dorsey and some of the other ones, man. Can't do it without you, man. Big shout out to Rainey Ross and all my brothers at San Francisco Equity. Big shout out to all my folks, man, at West Side. Big shout out to, even Steve Adami and Salvation Army and all of them, man, and St. Anthony's. All of them folks, man, Father Alpha Center, man. We all working together with the same cause, man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we got to realize the ties that bind us together are stronger than those that will ever tear us apart, man. And change is hard, but it's the resistance to change that makes change hard. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to drop the dead weight and still move forward. When I got clean, man, I had to tell him. I put a voicemail on my phone, man. I said, I'm making some changes in my life. And if you don't have my new number, you may be one of those changes. So make some changes, y'all. Drop some of that dead weight, man. Get some friends that's on your team and doing some of the same things that you doing, man, and move forward, no matter what. My name is Richard B. I am the ambassador for recovery, man.
Yes.
Man. For real, for real.
Hey, brother, all I can say is I love your passion. I love your energy. I love your commitment. You know the bishop. I can get fired up too. But, brother, this is your night. You are Hidden Gem. Brother Bill, thank you for all the things that you do, the amazing commitment, the work that you do to help impact our community. So many families are thanking you for the lives and the loved ones that you've touched to help them, bring them around. We know the work. We've seen the results. Keep doing the work you're doing, King, and uplifting these people in our community. We need you. We thank you. Both sides of the conversation, we hear anything you need us to get out, support. We're going to make sure we get it out there for you, brother. Thank you for what you're doing, King.
Thank you. Thank you, brother-in-law, for being my mentor, man. I love you, bro. Anytime you need me, I got your back. Because bad brothers, man.
That's right. Brother Coach, I'm not letting you off the hook easy either, brother. You got to follow up all that energy. Come on. I know you're 71 years young. You got to keep up with Brother Bill. Come on, brother.
I'm the smooth operator. I'm the smooth operator. I'll just say this real. I want to shout out to my family. My family has been there. I remember being out there in the streets, and you're a young man, and people would say, "I'm praying for you," right? So I want to give a shout out first to my family and to God, for the strength, and then my main shout out is to Brother Bill here, because he stood there. He simply said, "Send me his picture." When I was out there, and the other people was telling me, "You don't need to be going out there in the Tenderloin. Don't wear anything shiny. Don't do this, don't do that." And I was like, "Man, Richard, I gotta find my son." He said, "Send me a picture," right? And I mean, immediately wheels were turning. But I want to end on this note. I mentioned earlier, I went back to school at age 59. I wanted to be an opera singer when I was a kid, and my dad wanted to put me through school, right? And I thought it was impossible, being one of 17 children. I was like, yeah, how could he possibly afford? But let me tell you, I performed my first opera at age 59, The Magic Flute, and I became the main character, Sarastro. So recovery is absolutely possible.
Yes.
And recovery is what we need. Abstinence. You don't need, my daughter, bless her soul, I was 27 and she said, "Dad, quit smoking." And I many times I had thought about quitting smoking. And then that day, it was just her little voice. And I said, you know what, sweetheart, I'm going to quit smoking. Right. And I quit smoking. I just stopped. I didn't go get a patch. I didn't go to any support groups, anything. But I know that it can be done. So I want to leave you guys with this. Recovery is possible. And I want you guys to reach out to us and help us help some more people. Right. You know, it's just two of us. And we have let me shout out to our board. We have a tremendous board. They've come on and they've helped and they're working with us to make sure that all of the moves we make are consistent with helping people. And they all came on and they said, we're coming on because we want to help people. So shout out to the board of BAD.
And we praying for DPH. We praying for all of the community partners and everything. Everybody out there, stay on the mission, man. Stay on this fight against. We don't fight against each other. Like I said, we fighting against the disease of addiction. Man. You know what I'm saying? We never need to forget that. Man. We need to work together as one because we need unity in the community.
Man, very powerful stuff. Hey, brothers, thank the smooth operator, Brother Coates. Thank you for having the hype man that you have, Brother Bill. That's passionate, that's going to make sure people feel the vibration that he brings. Hey, again, this conversation about addiction is real. Community tonight, 2 hidden gems. Some bad brothers came here to give you information. They are stepping through a community near you. They're going to make change. They're going to make impact. They're going to bring a new direction, a new understanding, a new opportunity. Log in, check them out. Go out to the play. Go support. Do something. Don't just sit there. Do something. Go check out the play. See what's going on. And again, keep those testimonies open because through communication, we know healing begins, and that's what we need in our community right now. Thank you, brothers, both, for coming on here tonight, being vulnerable, being open, talking about the difficult conversation of substance abuse for our community. Community, go do some research. Check them out. Check their website out. All the information is going across the screen. Connect with them. Find out how you can help. Maybe there's somebody in your family that you need to connect them with. Maybe tonight, the Bad Brothers will help. They will be the changing way to make a change in our community. With that being said, thank you both. Please reach out to us, Brother Bill, if there's anything that you need for us to help support on our social media and the events other than events that's coming up. Please reach out, send it to us so we can get it out. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
John Henry, you're the man. Thank you, man.
I appreciate y'all, man. Keep doing the good work. And, we definitely go be here to continue to support you all, man. And we love what y'all doing over there at Bad Brothers. Come on, man. Keep doing y'all thing.
All right.
Thank you, bro.
All right. Thank you, brother. All right, community. With that being said, tonight, our hidden gems was here. Oh, my goodness. They was here. They showed up. They brought the energy. I don't know if I can bring the energy that Brother Richard Bill brought at the end for this benediction. I don't know. I got to muster it up a little bit. The weather is nice. It's hot outside. I don't know if I need to dip my throat in some ice cream. I don't know. But tonight, I need something that can relax all of this energy. This is like a ball fire of energy. Tonight, you've been blessed with the Bad Brothers. I told you, our Hidden Gem segment is powerful. I told you. We will bring you something different that we need this in our community. We need these conversations. We need this healing. And you got it tonight. Reach out to the brothers at BAD. Shout out to all the amazing folks that are helping march that organization forward, to their board, to all of the folks that are helping changing the narrative over there at BAD in our community. We know with community, with unity, we can do it all. It takes a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but we'll get there. To all of our both sides of the conversation, team folks, want to give all of you amazing shout out. Thank you for all you do behind the scenes. We're going to keep pushing forward. There's some things we're going to have to do. We're going to make changes. I think Richard Bill said it best. If you hear the message in the phone, it's not as you got to get rid of. You might be part of the change. We got to make some changes to do what we got to do. All right. With that being said, community, I'm going to get you out of here. I know y'all like Bishop. We had enough. We've been on there long enough. Get out of here, Bishop. We got to go. All right. With that being said, I don't know. I'm feeling a little excited. I don't know. Maybe I just need to blow up the spot one more time. I don't know. Y'all haven't seen me in a whole month. You have to deal with Bishop for a few more minutes. But before we go, I'm going to give everybody the benediction and bid you all a good evening. Thank you all for tuning in again. Check us out on all of our social media handles. Again, we need that support. Hey, we need some financial support too. I need some folks out there to make some donations so we can keep this platform moving and the work that we're doing to impact the community. All you lovely folks, I know y'all lovely out there. Come on and support what we're doing. And again, subscribe for our newsletter. It is very important to stay in tune. And we're trying to bring you all the information that's impacting our communities every day. And we're going to keep doing our work here at Both Sides of the Conversation to be intentional and make sure that we get you the information you need. All of my Educational Thursday people, if you got a PowerPoint presentation, yeah, I'm talking to you, all my educated folks. I need somebody to come on here and do a PowerPoint presentation because my community, they need some sauce. They need some information. They need some game. Maybe you got the next good thing that we need in our community, advances and move us forward. I need you to come on, sign up and come do a PowerPoint presentation. We need you in our community. With that being said, I'm going to give you the benediction. I'm out of here because this is what it is. It's that time to go to bed. All right. With that being said, community, tonight, you've been blessed. Tonight, you've heard some crucial information. I don't know if you was paying attention, but the statistics, it's hard to hear, to see addiction, the substance abuse, the number of loss go from number 8 to number 2 in our community. It's an alarming sign. There's an alarm that's signing off. We need some help in our community. When we talk about the Black and brown community, when we talk about substance abuse, how that is inflecting on our community, we need to do our part to not only bring the awareness, but be intentional and bring the preventative measures that we need to make change in our community. Tonight, you met 2 phenomenal brothers from BAD that are bringing that help, bringing that support to our community, understanding some of the things that is going on within the system and trying to bring change, a pathway for healing and recovery. Again, we had enough fentanyl deaths. We had enough drug overdoses in our community. We can no longer step over folks who are on drugs in our community. We can no longer have our young people afraid to go to schools because someone's in their alley or on their street doing drugs. We have to make a change. There's programs, the investment from the Department of Public Health, from the investment of the federal government, from the investment of the people. We have to do something to make a change. It's called We're All In. Are we all out? I don't know. Tonight, you heard the leadership. You heard the resilience. You heard the energy from 2 amazing brothers, 30 years of experience, a 71-year-old man continuing to fight the fight. What about you? What are you going to do? We need some people in the community to get energy, to get united. I don't know. Maybe we have to get on point. We got to get our code together. Something's got to change. We cannot lose another person in our community to fentanyl. We cannot lose another person in our community to substance abuse. We must not sit and stand and watch this continue to collapse our community. The struggles of mental health is real. We need the support. We need the community. We need you to do your part to continue to uplift and support tonight's Hidden Gems. This is real. Someone's out there dealing with it. Make sure you're open. Make sure you're not judging someone. Make sure you are wrapping your arms around the very folks that need the help. Be open. Our institutions need work. A fentanyl, a drug overdose inside of our jail system cannot happen anymore. You must get angry. They must do more. I don't know. But we got work to do. Here at Both Sides of the Conversation, we're going to support you. We're going to uplift you. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. It's been a long time. We got more to come. Hey, tomorrow, check our social media handles. We'll be getting out the information for the earthquake preparedness community. Make sure you're doing your part to be safe. Be prepared. Don't be the one out there looking for help. Be the prepared person. So if the big one comes, you don't just have to run and hide. You'll have the right tools, the right materials, the right supplies to get you by. We're going to uplift that information. Check us out tomorrow. We'll get it out there to the community. Have a great evening. Enjoy this great weather. I don't know in San Francisco how long it's going to last. They say the fog is rolling in tonight. I don't know. But to my folks in the East Bay, it's still going to be hot all week. Enjoy it. Get some ice cream. Get out. Check some of the amazing views that we have here in the Bay Area. Check out some of the mountain types. Go on a hike. I don't know. Go on a stroll in the park. Enjoy the great weather, folks. Have a good evening now from the Bishop.